on this episode of the People of Pearland podcast.
Play the Jeopardy music.
That's me making that sound. That could be edited out.
Oh, no, that's our intro
Hopefully.
now.
There you go.
Stay tuned for more.
1, 2, 3. We don't have to do clap break this time.
I know. No cameras this time.
Fantastic.
You lucked out.
So, welcome to the next episode. Dun, dun, dun. Dr. Dre, next episode? Never mind. Sorry. Let's try that again. Welcome to the next episode of the People of Pearland podcast. Today, we are talking with Erin Coleman, Erin Coleman.
Yeah, that's right.
From the records division of our Pearland Police Department. Welcome to the show, Erin.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So this is a series that we put together to talk to the people that run Pearland, that keep the community going, 800 plus, 850-ish employees. And so we just want to sit down and learn more about you.
And what you do here.
Yeah.
So
and
let's start
why
there.
you do it.
What do you do
Yeah, what
for
do you
the
do
city
for
of
the city?
Pearland?
So the records unit at the police department, we get all of the reports that the officers write on a day-to-day basis. And if they become incident reports, which means they're elevated to the level of a crime or something of that nature, then we review them. We have to read through them all to check for spelling, grammar. If it's a theft, if they list property, we have to make sure that that's going into the proper property screen to be logged correctly, because all of the reports go to the DA's office, which is what my team does, is sends them to the DA for prosecution. And also we have to report them to the state and to the FBI for their database on crime.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No pressure.
So-
Yeah, no, that's intense.
That's a monthly audit that we do. We just make sure that everything is in order. We review pretty much all of the reports that came in over the month one last time, and then we submit it to those agencies.
That's fantastic.
So, and we can cut post, but I'm just curious, what's the number of like how many y'all are processing? I'm going to say monthly.
Monthly, it's usually somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000
Oh my gosh.
cases.
Wild.
How big is your team?
We have 6 records clerks. One is half-time does our Cry Wolf program, which is the city's false alarm monitoring. It's for whenever you have the officers respond and you don't have a reason for the alarm, no
Wow.
suspicious activity or
Yeah.
anything like that. And then I have another employee in my team that is the custodian of records for the PD. She handles all of the subpoenas that come in for records and all of the public information requests for the PD. And then I have 2 lovely receptionists who are the most likely who you'll see if you come down to the PD.
Right. So the ones facing the glass in the lobby area.
Yep.
And so you mentioned public information requests. I can imagine you get quite a few of those.
Yeah,
Pretty
it can vary. Usually we get maybe 2 or 3 a day, but sometimes we have
A day?
slower times
Wow.
and we can have 1 or 2 a week.
Wow. Yeah, we get like one every 6 months.
Right.
or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, but I guess the stuff we do isn't, well, it's all public and,
Right.
it's not that interesting.
Right.
So
High visibility isn't a bad thing sometimes.
That's true.
that's true. So how'd you get into this job? How long have you been with the city?
Since 2018.
Okay.
I started
So
working in
almost 5 years?
2018. Yep, I'll be 5 years in April, I think.
Yep.
Started at the PD or?
Started at the PD.
Okay.
Started in records as a clerk, and then moved up to records supervisor and then records manager.
And what did you do before working for the city?
College.
Okay.
College. I came back from University of San Antonio.
Yep.
And this was my first out of university job. And I thought it was going to be a temporary thing. I was just going to be in that entry records clerk position until I found a job in my degree plan, which was geology. But I really, really enjoy the city, so I decided to stay.
So you studied rocks,
Yes.
right?
I love them.
You do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite rock?
Oh,
Tough
favorite
questions.
rock. I really like serpentine. It comes in really cool colors. Mineral wise, there's a mineral called Colemanite, so I got to go with it because it's got my last name.
Yeah, there you
What
go.
about, okay, you don't like dolomite?
I like dolomite well enough, but not as much as Colemanite.
Dolomite's a really hard mineral, right? It's like, is that true?
Welcome to the Rock Podcast.
I only know about dolomite because of Futurama. I don't know if you know that show, but
I was actually surprised that you didn't say this rocks at some point. I was waiting for you to say that.
I'm sorry, my dad joke batteries are really low today.
He's got some time.
Oh, yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
some
yeah.
time. Let's
Yeah,
not take it for
don't worry
granted.
about
He might
that.
get to it later.
For
That's right.
granted?
Yeah, get it.
Oh, man. Goodness. All right. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that's it. We don't need to talk about anything else.
So you got a degree in geology. Did you intend to be Indiana Jones or that was archaeology, I guess?
He was archaeology. I would love to be Indiana Jones.
But you'd
It's
rather
real
work at the
cool.
city.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather work at the city. Whenever I got the job, I just really enjoyed the people I worked with and the opportunities that the city provided me. It's challenging work and it's changing, and so yeah, I enjoy working here. So
Well, we enjoy having you here.
Are you from Pearland originally?
It's gonna
I
be
am
my
from
next
Alvin.
question.
Alvin. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
from Alvin, right
Gotcha.
down the road.
Pearland
So
adjacent.
Yep.
Yep.
Not to get too personal, but you still live in the area? You're still
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
cool.
I still live still in Alvin. We have 3 acres out there
Oh,
that
that's
we live.
awesome.
Yeah.
Quite a few of our employees live out in that area. I can think of several that I know that are kind of sprinkled throughout the area.
Yep.
I think it's because at one point there was really cheap acreage out there because we weren't as developed as Pearland, so you
Yeah.
could get a lot of acreage to build on.
So you live on 3 acres. Do you have farm animals or vegetable gardens or just rocks
Yeah.
or
I was waiting.
We have
caliche pit?
we have had pigs, rabbits, horses, cows,
Wow.
a 300 square foot garden at one point. We don't have any of that now. It was a fun experiment
Is
for
this
that garden.
where you grew up, or is this? Yeah. So I grew up on 5 acres, and same sort of deal.
Okay, flex.
No. It was that. It was the same experience. We had a pony who
Yep.
was mean.
My pony was mean too. It would only bite and kick me.
Oh, okay. So my pony would bite and kick everybody else.
Oh my
One
gosh.
time he tried to kick me. He kicked my babysitter in the chest.
Oh my God.
Which I don't know why she was letting me stand so close to a pony. But his name was Joe. He was my sister's
Oh.
pony, actually. But we had chickens, also mean. Cows, also mean. And we had rabbits for a very short period of time.
We had rabbits for a little while as well. They didn't
Fascinating.
last very long. And
See?
my pony was named Brownie, and he would not kick anybody.
Except
My
for you.
mom ran before she started animal control work back in the 90s, she ran a home daycare. And so one day we were playing in the pasture, and all of the other kids walked behind the pony, but I didn't because I knew that pony was
You know,
mean to me. And one of the kids got exasperated, came and grabbed me and was like, "He's not going to do anything," and dragged me behind him, and he kicked me.
Wow. He
Kicked me.
waited
He
for that
waited.
moment. Wow.
What did you do to that poor pony?
But nothing. I just, if I did it, I was too young to remember it. I'd admit to it.
So, can we talk about your mom?
Absolutely.
So she worked here too.
Yep.
And how long did she work here? Do you know that?
I know for sure she made 15 years. I think
Mm.
she was pretty close to 20
Yeah.
whenever she passed.
Wow.
Yeah. She, what's it like? I mean, you work literally right next door to the building that has her namesake on it. That has to be really powerful, I would think.
Yeah, it's very surreal. Whenever she was ill, she instilled a gallows humor in me. So we would joke about Mom, if you don't get better, they're going to name that shelter after you, the new shelter after you. And look at that. It happened.
That's that's I mean, it's good to be able to smile and laugh about things like that. I mean, it's certainly well deserved, right? She did so much for the city as a whole, but especially animal control and all the work that she did. So for those in the listening audience, Sherry Coleman was over the animal control division, which is actually part of the police department now.
Yes.
So Erin and Sherry got to work together in the same department for a period of time until her passing in 2019.
Late 2019, October.
And now the brand new Animal Control or Animal Services and Adoption Center is named the Sherry D. Coleman Animal Services and Adoption Center. And it is a fantastic facility. So apparently people go see it and adopt a dog or a cat or something along those lines.
Yep, they had a ferret there last week.
Wow.
Neat.
Or about 2 weeks ago.
Man.
Also a mean animal. I don't know if you know this. What do they call them? They call them
Ferrets?
No, yeah. No. We have a friend that has ferrets, and they're like slinky kitties or something like
Slinky
that.
cats.
Slinky cats. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're all bendy and weird. That's a weird animal. They're fun to look at, but I don't trust them. They have those sketchy eyes.
I never had a problem with ferrets. Hamsters, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hamsters were real mean. Every single one I touched. Just mean little creatures.
The last hamster I picked up, I got bit by. It was for a show called Animal Crime Division.
Wait, you were acting for this show?
I was the director.
I have heard the story. Yes, that's right.
And the hamsters got stolen. I think that was the plot. They got stolen. But we used live hamsters. And
I thought you were talking about in real life, like whenever you hear about actors stealing props.
Oh, no. The
Stole
show,
some
the
hamsters.
plot for the show, I think, was that the hamsters got stolen, if I remember correctly. It was a long day. So,
anyways,
more about Erin.
Right.
So, outside of work, what do you do? What's your...
I play D&D, Pathfinder, all sorts of board games. I'd love to play video games, but I don't have internet where I live. It's impossible.
Wow.
That sounds
Okay.
kind of nice, actually.
It's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's not so bad, except I'm always behind on what's streaming. COVID, entire world watched Tiger King. Still haven't seen it.
Oh man.
You know what? I
missed
haven't
out.
either.
Still haven't seen it.
So we're in the same boat.
Yep.
You're in good company. We canceled our next Netflix subscription and we just never went back to it. And so still alive, still here,
Still making it.
just make up my own shows in my head like Animal Crime Division. That's fun. Your favorite board game?
Ooh. I really like, it's kind of geeky, I guess. I really like this game called Ticket to Ride. You build trains
I'm
across
very familiar.
Yeah.
the continent.
Very
I love it.
competitive in our family. My wife and I probably don't play that game all that well.
Spoons is the game for me that I don't play very well. I'm very competitive in Spoons. You don't want to play it with me. I get real mean.
We our favorite, I think, is Catan, Settlers of Catan, and we've legitimately sent other people home in fights.
Oh yeah. That can happen. In that
It
game.
happens
Yeah.
like every single
Oh, yeah.
time. It's so entertaining. That's one that we do that we can play relatively well.
So like D&D, do you have like people you get with every week and y'all do the whole thing, or
Who's your
it's-
dungeon
yeah,
master?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
DM?
yeah. In D&D, they're DMs. I was a DM for one game. That group met about twice and then broke up.
Oof.
Ooh,
Um,
just chemistry wasn't there.
it's really hard to schedule
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
It's a commitment.
Yeah. So that group fell apart. The game that I was a player in that fell apart. Married couple could never meet on the
Mhm.
same days and stuff like that. And then I get a lot better meetups with Pathfinder. I'm playing with a couple of
Gotcha.
people from the city and some non-city friends, and we meet
And
every
what is
Tuesday.
Pathfinder? What's that?
It's similar to D&D. It's just a different company that makes it. It's from Paizo, and it has a lot of great stuff to it. It's D&D changes their rules, and they've changed things over the years. I think we're on 5e or 5.5e right now, maybe 6e. I played 5e last, so I haven't kept up with it in the past year and a half or so because I've been playing Pathfinder. Pathfinder's usually compared to 3 or 3.5e of Dungeons and Dragons, and because it's a different game, Dungeons and Dragons actually has Dungeon Master trademarked. So any other game that's like that, you are a game master or GM.
Okay.
A general manager.
There you go.
There you go.
Right. General manager of Pathfinder.
That is fascinating. I always like the idea of it. It always feels very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to get into that. I just don't. I'd be that person that could never commit. That would be me.
But it feels like, I mean, there's a lot of creativity, right?
Yes. A lot of it is using your imagination, but now they have a lot of tools to visualize it in,
especially with like 3D printing and things like that.
3D printing. Yeah. I've made models for campaigns in the past.
That's so cool.
Little towns out of craft foam and stuff. And then
it's a very interactive experience.
It can be. There's groups that just all they have is a table and their dice and their imagination. Mm-hmm. And then there's groups that now you can get a whole table that has a screen in it and throw up your maps on the screen and make all your models, put them on where your map is and stuff. It's just what's your commitment level.
That is fascinating. That's cool. And again, overwhelming for me.
I know.
But I see like current video games. I'm like, I can't do this. It's too much. I'm just getting to that age where I'm a crotchety old man now.
Like in video games, I mostly just play like Stardew Valley and stuff like that. I'm just on a farm.
Yeah.
Could be doing it out in my yard, but no.
I don't blame you. Like, and I make fun of my kids for like watching other people play. They're playing Minecraft, watching people playing Minecraft, and talking to their friends who are playing Minecraft, but not with them. And I'm like, I can't focus on any one thing right now. And so, I mean, to each his own.
Yeah.
I'll sit with my kids while they're playing video games, and I just get angry because they're doing it wrong, and I'm like, and I know it's not like that. Like, there's no right way to play video games, but there is. So obviously you're a creative person. You think that shows up in your work life? You think it applies to the job that you do? Because that's a tricky job that y'all have to do there.
I would like to say that it does. I focused on, whenever I first got the promotion to manager, I focused on what are some of the tasks that we do daily that can be updated and changed, and how can we find these quick solutions to it. And I think that's influenced heavily by video games, or can be heavily influenced by video games and board games, RPGs and things like that, because sometimes that's what you're doing. You're sitting at a table with creative problem solving. Everything can be applied to situations if you try hard enough.
I would agree with that for sure. And we didn't even mention, right? Not only do you do records management in the police department, but in times of emergency, you're our de facto call center, right?
Yes, we are the call center for natural disasters, usually.
In an area where we've gotten to do a lot of developing and fine-tuning and figuring out what works. And
yes, we actually work very closely with your JIC, right? Joint Information
Center. That's right. Yep.
And that has been working out much better than I think it did in the past, because I don't think that we used to communicate between the call center and the JIC. So that's just been working out fabulously. But
and it's a fascinating setup because, if you look at the traditional structure of an emergency based on the ICS, the Incident Command System structure, the call center and the Joint Information Center, they're kind of there, but they're not like plugged into any one of the predefined elements, like planning or logistics. They're they're important. They're essential services, but they just kind of sit out there on their own. And so the work that we've done to connect the dots between those two things, make sure that we're sharing information back and front, and making sure that people know the right phone number to call, and that they're getting your people on the on the round robin, making sure that IT has all that stuff connected. I think has been really good work. But you had a big hand in making that all a reality.
Thank you. It's been a really collaborative effort with you and Yvette of Public Works, because now we have Public Works helping out with the call center. We have Parks and Rec. Randy over there has taken on the second leader, the night shift leader. Because there's
because we run the call center 24 hours a day.
Right.
Yep.
Well, we run the whole
24/7.
emergency operations center 24/7.
My mind
Activation.
specifically goes to the winter freeze when
I was just thinking about
all
that
the
too.
calls were coming in, and we hadn't come in yet to the the PSB, and so
Public
I
Safety
remember,
Building.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
no acronyms. And I remember like setting up our laptops like to get the calls as well because there was so much happening. We were just trying to support everybody as much as we could at that time. That was crazy.
Yeah, that activation was something else.
Yeah.
I think we learned probably more from that one experience than we did any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, big help on that one was Haley Jones she's now in dispatch. She was in my team. She was pretty much the only person from my team who could get in the day that they activated us.
Mm-hmm.
And that was her last week of training, actually, with the city as a whole.
Wow,
and
goodness.
her and y'all and the people who were able to get in so quickly just held down the fort so well.
Yeah. So you mentioned Haley went from your group to dispatch. Does that happen a lot? Is that?
Yeah, that happens pretty frequently in the PD. I think a couple of the animal control officers are applying for dispatch right now, or just going to dispatch, and sometimes the dispatchers or the jailers end up as officers. So yeah.
Cool.
Staying in the organization. That's cool.
It seems like there's a lot of that, right? And maybe more in PD than other places because it's a large department overall. And seems like, there are so many different opportunities and so many, I don't know what they call it, non-uniform versus uniform positions, or sworn versus.
I think the current verbiage is professional staff and then sworn staff.
That makes
I
sense.
think.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I was going to say
Yeah.
unprofessional, but obviously that doesn't.
But it's fascinating because, as a citizen, you think of PD and you just think of the guy who is on the street, right? You don't think about the person who
All
gets
the
the
support staff.
records and has to pretty much copyright everything that they're, writing down at the moment and then sending that off. That's interesting.
Well, we have Miss Judy Hale, who's been with the city for 38
right.
years.
Yeah.
She remembers whenever they were having to literally type
On
the
a typewriter.
handwritten
Oh my gosh.
reports into the system
Holy
or
moly.
type them onto carbon paper and keep the records.
Do you still have those records?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Police records have some of the
Most
longest
stringent.
state retentions, 75 years to forever.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because we deal with murders and stuff like
Sure,
that.
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah, there's a lot
we
of-
have to hold on to those for.
So for that stuff,
Forever.
like, y'all have the
Staggering.
physical of it, or y'all like converted to? You have to hold on to the physical.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And then, I'm sure a lot of it has been digitized.
But still, it sounds like
Not really.
Well, but all the stuff you have now.
All the
is-
stuff we have from early 2000s to now is digitized. Everything prior to that is paper.
Wow,
that's crazy.
that's unreal. And I'm sure you could find, it's all very well
Yeah.
organized and.
Yeah.
We've had PIRs come in where somebody was asking for an arrest that happened in 1975 that we've found.
That's
That's
amazing. That's
amazing.
impressive.
Yeah.
That's
I kind of
impressive.
want to submit some PIRs now. Not that I want to create more work. I'm
You come
genuinely
over, I'll show
curious.
you the archive. No PIR required.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we talk about this a lot. And I was actually thinking about this just today, but everything we do is so visible, right, and so public. And certainly anybody can go in and submit an information request, a public information request, PIR, and get anything, right? Obviously, some things get redacted to protect personally identifiable information, things like that. But generally speaking, anything and everything about the city, and not just in PD, but everywhere, is public information.
Right.
And we've always tried to strive towards, that holistic transparency to reinforce the trust in the government, but also to prevent people from having to go through the process of submitting PIRs, right? Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you got to, define the parameters, yada, yada, yada. But
yeah, the police records are kept pretty much under lock and key with those PIR exceptions. Not even the officers can get into the records department.
That makes sense.
So we
y'all
have
deal with
just
a lot of
these
really
giant
sensitive information.
rollers. I could show you all of the rollers, but not the records themselves.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're pretty lock and key. But whenever PIRs come in, we try to respond as quickly as possible. Public information requests, no acronyms.
There it is.
Yeah.
we all do it.
We do.
We get in the habit, and it does save time for sure. But we always joke about it. That, we know the acronyms.
I know. Yeah.
No one else does.
It means nothing to some.
No.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't know why, but like government, generally speaking,
Oh yeah.
they love acronyms.
I think that should be part of like new hire training. It's just
I
you
think
get this
it is
list
now,
of acronyms.
actually. I think that's the thing that
because I spent probably a good half a year catching up with y'all over here.
Yeah. So I completely lost my train of thought.
Wow, way to go!
Sorry.
Quick, make a rock joke.
Yeah. So what's your favorite sedentary rock? I don't know.
Wow.
Do you have any rock jokes?
Off the top of my head, no.
Seriously?
It happened.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
I know.
See?
It happens.
It's contagious.
I'm blank. I'm thinking about acronyms.
So no, I am curious, and I always like to wrap these up this way. But so you go to school for geology, and now you're the keeper of the records for the entire police department for the city. But why do you do what you do? Like, what's your motivation?
I guess my motivation for the records department and the police department in the city of Pearland is that what I do matters, and I can see how it matters. If we're not making sure that those cases are all correct, all the information in them is accurate, and following up with an officer if we have questions or anything like that, because it's still the officers that write the reports. We're checking them for errors and things of that nature, but it's still the officer that would have to make any potential additional supplements or anything like that. And then we send it to the DA. If we didn't do those checks for those records, our information would be wrong for the DA, which could end in convictions being thrown out or charges being thrown out of court. Or if we're not doing it as efficiently as possible, then somebody who's waiting for a trial could be waiting for forever until we get those cases down there. So what we do matters, and on a bigger scale, just working in the city, doing the natural disasters, working on the different committees within the city, it all just, you can see the effect that you have, and that makes me feel very good about my position. And it makes me feel good about the choices I'm making in my career because I can see that I am helping people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that's very thoughtful. And it seems like, a lot of, it's easy for us to get bogged down in the grind of
the day to day.
We've got to get these things done. We have these priorities and so forth and so on. And so the first thing that goes is that sort of motivation, the overarching esoteric feeling, and then the impact that we have on others, right, in the organization as a whole. And I had a second thought to that and left me again. This is not my day.
And rocks.
And rocks are cool. But you mentioned, all the things that you showed. I should have mentioned too that you're a member of the executive leadership team, which is a completely different thing than your day-to-day job. But certainly a valuable experience and something that's helping shape and drive the organization. And I remember what my second point was. It was related to that. My experience, so I started here in 2018 as well, so we probably weren't too far from each other. But everything I'd done professionally before that was in the private sector, and this is my first public sector job. And one of the reasons that I was interested in this and wanted to pursue this as much as I did was my wife has always worked in public sector, same amount of time that I've worked in private sector. And at the end of the day, in the private sector, I was helping people with a lot of money make more money, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing in and of itself. And I got to do some interesting stuff, but she was making, policy influential decisions and things like that. She was, providing reports to Congress and, making real change. Right. And so this Pearland for me, for a community that raised me, right, gave me that opportunity to leave my own imprint on it. And it seems like a lot of us
feel that way. Yeah. Right. Like doing something that, like she says, actually matters for the community, for the citizens, everyone here.
Every position is intentional and purposeful, right? And everybody, helps the organization move and grow and evolve.
Yeah, and we all remind each other, like, we're doing this for the citizens, we're doing this for a purpose. And I think it kind of bonds us together, and it's what makes all of us employees enthusiastic to continue coming to work and continue to help.
Yeah, I think that's the thing to remember, especially like day 5 of a ice storm, right? Or, after a hard day there's a reason we do this, and there's a reason we chose to do this. Anything else we should know about Erin Coleman before we wrap this up?
I really wanted to end on a cool rock joke, and I've been thinking about it in the back of my mind, and I just can't think of
seriously?
one.
All right,
we can pause.
It's so sad.
No.
We'll edit one in. There you go.
I'm cheating. I'm going to Google. Hang on. Just play the Jeopardy music.
That's me making that sound. That could be edited out.
Oh, no, that's our intro
Hopefully.
now.
There you go.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, no.
I hope it's epic.
I can't do that one.
EPOCH. That's a rock joke for you.
It's
It's a measure of time. The scale. The geologic time scale. There you
Didn't
go.
know that. There you go.
My wife told me she was thinking about selling Egyptian rocks. Have you heard of these?
No.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a pyramid scheme.
That's
a good one.
Not really rock related. But
Well, the pyramids are made out of rock.
Why was the geologist sad?
So many reasons.
Because his marriage was on the rocks.
Ah!
Good. What? You'll like this one. Why was the sedimentary rock collection so cheap?
Why?
Because it was on shale.
All right. And we're done.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We'll be here all week. Thank you, Erin, for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. That was awesome.
We'll see you around the records department.
Yeah.
Next time we have a natural disaster.
That's
Hopefully not anytime soon.
Hopefully not anytime soon.
All right.
Knock on wood.
We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks.